Rebranding marketing or name marketing or new name marketing, yeah?
Yeah. So with rebranding, it's the process of a company changing their image, changing something about an already established brand.
Yeah, this is huge news, the Facebook news,
Yeah.
right? And I'm assuming that's what kind of inspired
Yeah.
this big change today.
Especially because it's not so often that we see already established huge companies making a shift in their branding. When it comes to name changing, logos, colors,
Yeah.
symbols that we use.
Anything that we're used to that's different is a really calculated risk on behalf of the company, I would say.
Yeah, it's always a thin line. Who knows? Maybe their previous consumers will not enjoy the new branding and they'll lose everything. Or they could stand to gain so much more. The whole concept of rebranding is to reach out to a new market and present themselves to a wider audience as the company grows.
Yeah, and it happens all the time. And it's not just companies that do this. I mean, individuals do this as well, right? You talk about singers who maybe started out as child singers or child actors and then wanted to recreate themselves. So they'll come out with a song or do a film that was not something that they would typically do before because the same reason they're trying to rebrand themselves.
Oh man, I remember when Instagram first changed their logo. Because it used to be like a more brownish color, it was kind of dull. And then they changed it to this whole like new colorful thing. And I remember everyone was like, no, go back to the original one.
I was
This
one
is
of those
bad
people.
design. Oh, really?
I said, I don't like these new colors.
I don't even remember the original logo.
It looked like one of those snapshot camera things.
Like a Polaroid camera.
Okay, brand name. And then they changed it after how long? I wonder, were they into the company when that took place?
It was a while after that they changed. For what I think it was changed after possibly Facebook had,
Understood.
Yeah.
Oh, right. When they took over.
I think so.
Then they gave them a new logo.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay. So where do you want to begin then?
Well, let's talk about the different types of rebranding first. So
Okay.
there are two main types. The first one is proactive, and the second is reactive.
Proactive, I'm guessing, is when you make the decision. Nothing has inspired you to do it per se.
Exactly.
You're just taking it upon yourself to do it. And then reactive would be something happened,
Happens, yeah.
probably a negative thing.
Yeah.
And then-
Usually a negative thing?
yeah, I would think so.
So yeah, exactly like you said. Proactive would be more about the audience for your company is expanding, your company is growing. So how can we change up our image to appeal to a wider audience?
Reach
Okay.
out to more people.
And just like you said, reactive, usually in response to something that has happened. But most commonly, it happens when companies acquire other companies. So there's a merger or a scandal of some kind.
And that's the Facebook news, right? Is
Yeah.
that there were these negative reports that came out alleging that Facebook was more interested in making money than being socially responsible.
Yeah.
And as a response, Facebook is changing its name, yeah?
Well, let's talk about that because actually,
Yeah.
according to Mark Zuckerberg, this was all in the process before this scandal happened. So in his mind, it's proactive because it's already something that
Okay.
he has been planning.
So in Mark Zuckerberg's mind, it's just a massive, massive coincidence.
Yes. I think that was an actual statement he made.
I
that
mean-
this has nothing to do with.
It is possible because it's not, when we read the headlines, or when I read the headlines a few days ago, Facebook is changing its name. I thought, what?
Yeah.
What are they going to call it? Bookface? Like, I don't get it. But that's not changing, though.
Yeah.
It's just the parent company, right?
Exactly.
The name Facebook is not going anywhere.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So in this situation with Facebook, they're changing their parent company's name because you know how we use Facebook now. If I want to log into an app that I've downloaded, I
Yeah.
can log in with my Facebook account.
Right.
But people commonly don't want to use their Facebook account because they associate it with the social media aspect.
I'm always worried it's going to like pop up in my feed, which apparently that does not happen at all.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not supposed to happen, but the consumer fear of that happening is there.
Right.
So because of situations like this, Facebook is moving away from associating its main corporate brand from one of its products.
So in the future, and I kind of believe Mark Zuckerberg
Yeah.
when
I do
he
too.
says we've had this in the works for a while now. It could very well be a coincidence that the reports came out. But
Yeah.
in the future, instead of saying you can log into this app with your Facebook account, it will say log in with Meta.
Yeah, log in with your Meta account. Because think about the other major corporations that already use this exact system.
The G company,
The
the,
G
the fruit
company,
company.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
These two companies are a parent brand, but the name of their parent brand is not associated with any specific product.
Yeah, right.
Whereas in Facebook's case, it is the product and the company's name.
Of that specific online
Yes.
platform.
So now, like Kate mentioned earlier, Facebook has acquired multiple different
Companies,
companies.
products. Yeah.
so
They own Insta. Do they own WhatsApp?
yes.
Yes.
They do.
Yeah.
So because of that, they want to put Facebook into their social media group
Yeah.
and change their parent company name to give them space to grow in other areas as well.
Great. So Mark Zuckerberg's going to get more land in Hawaii. Because he's going to make
Is that
more,
what he's doing?
more and more and more
That's
money.
a personal shot to me.
It was a big issue then,
It
right?
was a very big
A
issue.
lot of local Hawaiians were very upset about that.
I was pretty upset.
Is
when I
that
heard
right?
about
Isn't it kind of a cool thing that Mark Zuckerberg like lives around you, or people just were like, no, not kind of our vibe here, Mark.
Well, it's a long story, but I think for a lot of Hawaiians, one, it's that we already don't have our own natural land. So billionaires coming and buying a lot is one problem. But also he bought it on Kauai, which is like the natural,
native, yeah.
lots of forest, a lot of untouched land. So to buy that property, it's kind of, we want to protect our ecosystem.
Oh, that's kind of shady.
It doesn't sound great, does it?
Oh,
But
no.
anyway, we digress. When we come back from this break, we're talking Innovation Station today, rebrand marketing, new name. So let's go through, Jonah, some examples of companies that went through name changes.
Yes, so everyone's favorite microblogging company, Twitter, used to be called Odeo.
Oh, really?
Yes. Before they became Twitter, as we know it today,
Yeah.
they actually were a podcast subscription company.
Out of town.
Yes. So their main thing was for you to be able to find a podcast you like,
Okay.
subscribe to it through them.
Yeah.
But with the invent of everyone's favorite fruit company's music sector, taking the majority of the share of that sector,
Okay.
their CEO gave their team members 2 weeks to find a way to change their entire.
Wow. Wow.
Entire
I'd
thing.
never heard that before.
Yeah.
Twitter was 2 weeks away from being done.
Yep, completely done. And now it's the mega giant that we know today.
So within 2 weeks, this team of individuals, presumably a relatively small team, came up with this idea. Okay, well, let's just give people a social media outlet where we'll limit the amount of characters they can type, and let's see how that goes.
And not only was it a rebrand, it was a complete business shift.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So,
away
huge-
from podcasts.
Huge risk for them, but the payoff was
Massive.
massive.
Seriously.
What's another example?
So, our favorite photo sharing app, Instagram, was once called Bourbon.
Really?
But Burbn.
Okay.
That's confusing because that's
is
an
very
alcohol name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But their problem was that their original app was completely different. It had way too many functions. Check-in function, geolocation tagging, of course their photo sharing, and a couple other things like a messenger.
Oh.
All of these things. But the original implication of the app was too confusing. None of their users liked it, so they opted to just drop every other function
Okay.
and keep
Just the
just
photo
the
sharing.
photos.
That check-in thing was was that
Foursquare.
Foursquare?
Square, yeah.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was a direct rival to Foursquare.
Oh,
at
really?
The time. Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't do too well. But it was a thing for a while. I remember seeing, I don't even remember where they would show up, but it would say like, Kate has checked in at this donut cafe or
Yeah.
something. It was like,
People used to compete when you checked in a certain amount of times, you would become the mayor.
Oh,
of
right,
this
right,
space.
right.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you got
gosh.
rewarded for being there,
Yeah.
but not rewarded from the business,
Yeah,
perhaps.
but
Okay.
I used to work at Disneyland way back in the day.
Yeah.
And during that time, when we would go to work every single day, everybody would check in and compete for
Oh,
who could
really?
be
The mayor
the
of
mayor
that.
of that.
I think Mickey Mouse holds that title, doesn't he? What's another example?
So our favorite G search engine company,
Yeah, the big one.
the big one, was originally called Backrub.
Ew.
That sounds so
And
inappropriate.
when
I don't want to search anything on
Yeah.
something called Backrub.
When you think about why it was named that way, it makes sense. But
Okay.
even the creators, they were not into it. So originally, Backrub was called this because the original search engine was a way to look for backlinks, which what that means is you type for a website and it gives you the most important references to that website.
Okay.
It's confusing to
Yeah,
me too.
most people don't know what a backlink is, right?
This was in the 90s when
okay.
the internet infrastructure was not as well developed.
the infant stages of the G company.
Exactly. So,
Okay.
but they also decided that the name was a little bit,
Yeah.
so they changed it to what it is today. But I do have a fun fact for why the G company is called.
Is called what it is?
Yes. So do you know in mathematics what 1.0 times 10 to the 100th power is?
Yes, the answer is the G company word, right?
Yes, but it is actually a different spelling. It's GOOGOL.
Oh, okay.
So that's an actual math term
Yeah,
for
right.
that kind of number. But
Google.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
But the reason why it came to be the spelling that we know it today is because
Yeah.
when they were looking to register that name,
Yeah.
they misspelled it
What?
in the search
It's a
engine.
typo?
It's a typo.
Oh, that's fun.
And they were like, we like that. Let's take it.
yeah, right.
It's better because when I look at the spelling of that mathematic equation, the Google, it looks almost
Yeah.
like. I feel like everyone will be like, "What Google?"
Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then so many English words finish in LE.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just a typo. Oh,
Brilliant.
funny how some things can just come out of nowhere and make great success.